Okay, here we are again, and this is now the Tarot Q&A number 17. And today I want to tell you how to do a horoscope spread for somebody else, because there's a difference. If let's say the time frame we're dealing with is 3 months, okay, we want to know about the next 3 months, what's going to happen in different areas of life. If you're doing this for yourself, then by all means turn all 12 cards, or turn the card in all of the 12 houses, because it's your spread and you know what cards mean, and you can think about it off and on over the next 3 months. Right, so today you might be interested in brothers and sisters, but your friends and friendships may be okay. So you've got a card for the 11th house, which is friends, but you may not really find it relevant or useful to know about the 11th house right now. But maybe a month from now, something happens with a friend, then you would look at the 11th house. And this is the thing, if you're doing a spread for you, you can make a note of it and think about it off and on for a while and learn from it. But if you have somebody asking you to do a horoscope spread, and you tell them about all these 12 houses, all the different areas of life, a lot of it isn't going to be meaningful or relevant or interesting or important for the questioner at that time. Maybe, or if you do turn all 12 cards and talk about each of them, it can be overwhelming for the questioner because it's too much information all at once. And a lot of the areas of life are not that important at the moment or at the time of asking the question. So you can talk about their friends, but they're going to forget, or they're not going to understand, or they're not going to remember when something, let's say, goes wrong with a friendship. So if you're doing a reading for somebody else, you approach it in a different way. And I'm going to put the whole image on screen. So you figure out the time frame, and let's say it's going to be 3 months. So somebody wants to know, tell me about the next 3 months of my life. And so you say, you're going to do a horoscope spread, so you know what the houses mean, but the questioner probably doesn't. So maybe when you're shuffling, you tell them about the meanings of the houses to give them an idea of the kind of thing they can ask about. Or else you give them a piece of paper with a diagram of all 12 houses. But maybe you just give them a list of words, because then you don't have houses and numbers to remember, and that could be confusing for somebody as well. So figure out what works for you so that the questioner is in a position of knowing what they can ask about. Because if you say to somebody, ask me anything, you don't know what to say a lot of the time. If there's nothing uppermost in your mind or a major problem you're trying to deal with, then you probably don't know. So the questioner has a rough idea of what the houses of a horoscope represent, or what kind of information you can get from the houses of a horoscope. And then you've got all 12 houses, all 12 cards face down, and you say to the questioner, what do you want to know about? And you, the reader, now take your instructions from the questioner. And I'll demonstrate this. I'll try to be quick. So what you do is you've got all 12 houses face down, or all 12 cards face down. And you say to the questioner, what do you want to know about? So I'm going to be the reader and the questioner, right? So I say to the questioner, what do you want to know about? And the questioner says, tell me a bit about me. And so you, the reader, think, okay, me, the first house, the self. So you turn the card in the first house and you look at it and you tell the questioner about himself or herself. Let's say it's a woman. It's going to be easier if we know it's a woman asking, because I'll get to that. So the first card we get is the Five of Cups reversed. So we look at it and we talk about what it shows, because recently there have been comments left on don't learn card meanings. And I think what you do is you look at the card and you see there are 5 cups, but 3 have been knocked over and 2 of them remain. So you talk about what that might mean. Can't think of anything at the moment. Okay, so the 5 of Cups is reversed. And maybe you say that over the next 3 months or the next period of time, you're going to be seeing what's wrong or looking on the dark side. Or if something happens, you're going to assume that the worst can happen. So maybe what you do is you remind yourself that the worst is one side of the story, but there's another side as well. So maybe what you do is you control your emotions and look, and don't immediately go to the dark side, but look and see what can be salvaged, or what's good that remains, or what good can be done. And I watched this fellow called Shamath recently, and have been interviewed on YouTube, and he talked about people argue about whether the cup or the glass is half full or half empty. And then he said, I just drink the water and then move on. And I think it's quite an interesting way of dealing with the question, is the glass half full or half empty? Rather than get stuck and bogged down with is it fated or free will? Is it good or is it bad? Do something with it and move on. The other thing is, if you look at the card, we've got the 3 cups knocked over, but we don't know who knocked them over. And it's easy to think that the person in the picture came upon a mess or came upon a damaged situation. So it may be with the 5 of Cups reversed in the house of self for the next 3 months, you're going to have to clean up messes. So because the person is standing there looking, maybe what you do is, or the advice is, think about the best way to do the cleanup before you actually do it. So there's more that can be said. But let's say you have a little bit of discussion about the questioner, and then you say, okay, what else do you want to know about? And the questioner says, I'm interested in my husband or my partner, what's happening with him. And so you think, the 7th house is marriage partner or the partner. So you turn the card in the 7th house and we get the 2 of Swords reversed. So what you could say is, at present, because the spread is for 3 months, so it doesn't mean that the partner is always like this or always going to be like this. But for the moment, the partner is or is dealing with being indecisive, being uncertain, being undecided about things to do or things going on. If you take a look at the sword can represent action, because it's a weapon and you can do things with it. So he may be uncertain about what to do or what actions to take. And so being uncertain, maybe we figure that if he's not quite sure what to do, maybe he needs help. And then the questioner might say, so what do I do if he needs help? And you think the best thing to do is, if we consider what the husband's value sense is, that'll give us an idea of what he cares about at the moment. And so if you get the Sun there, he's confident. And the indecision is temporary. But if it's a different card in the 8th, in the 2nd from the 7th, then it tells you more about what the husband's state of mind is. So we turn the card in the 8th house, which is the 2nd from the 7th, and we get here the Knight of Pentacles reversed. So we look at that, and because Pentacles represents money, but Pentacles also represent values, and it's upside down. So we could say that the husband isn't quite sure what he actually cares about at the moment, or what's really important to him. So also this husband not being sure about what to do can be a mess that the questioner has to clean up. Remember the Five of Cups, the Five of Cups reversed. So don't rush in to fix things, or don't rush in with ideas about what to do. It may be that with the Knight of Pentacles reversed here, the husband needs time to think. So the other thing is that knights are messengers and they bring change. So it could be that he doesn't like the messages that are coming to him. So what he could do, or maybe the wife makes a suggestion that he changes his focus. So maybe he deals with different people, or he concentrates on what he wants. People sometimes say that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend most amount of time with, or the composite of those 5 people. And so with the Knight of Pentacles reversed in the 8th, maybe it's time for the husband to find some new people, or to find some new activities to become involved in, because it can be that what he's doing he doesn't actually care about anymore, and so he would do well to look for different people, different situations, different challenges. Then the person says, okay, funnily enough, my husband is a bit concerned about his job. He's not sure about work and so on. So what should he do about his job? And you think, okay, the second house from the 7th is the husband's earned income. The 6th from the 7th is the services he's meant to perform. And the 10th is the career. The 10th from the 7th is going to be the career he's best involved with or best suited for. So we look again at, so the screen will show all 3 cards turned up. So we start with the Knight of Coins again, but this time we're looking at it from the point of view of work, right? So with the Knight of Pentacles upside down, coins is upside down, so it may be that he's being underpaid, right? So maybe what he does is he checks what his responsibilities are, because sometimes people have a lot to do and they don't get much pay for it. So maybe he needs to examine what he actually does for work and make sure that he gets adequately paid. The Knight of Coins upside down can mean, you know that expression about the check is in the mail, and it means that they're never going to pay you. So with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, when he's applying for a job or applying for a new job, make sure that he's covered, that if there are going to be delays, that he doesn't suffer in some way. And also because it's Pentacles, make sure he's doing what he cares about, because it's Pentacles. Then we can look at the 6th house, which shows the services he's meant to perform. And here we've got Judgment. And the picture shows people in coffins and the angels blowing a trumpet, and then the people are being released from restriction or whatever. So the services that the husband performs, his work should invigorate him and allow him to express himself and to be free. But also the work is probably going to help him or enable him to renew the lives of other people, because this is the Judgment card can be a card of renewal as well if you look at what's going on. So maybe he is involved in some kind of therapy where people's lives are renewed, or maybe it's in customer service or rehabilitation in some sort. But it could also be computer repair, because or fixing whatever, because people, when you get your computer back, you're free again. So I was thinking that at this point, the questioner knows what the husband has done or what he's involved in. And so the questioner can give some kind of input that would help you, the reader, to narrow down the kind of rejuvenating activities or work that the husband would be involved in. And then the 3rd card is the Ace of Batons reversed down there. So An ace is a beginning, but it's upside down. So we're looking for a delayed new beginning. So maybe he needs to go back and get some extra schooling or get some extra qualifications, and that can be the reason for the delay. Or it may be that there's a delay because he's looking in the wrong direction. So go, maybe the suggestion is go and look where you wouldn't normally look, and that's where you're going to find what it is that you need to know. That's where the solution lies. And then maybe the last question is, or the question's kind of had enough at this point and wants one more. Maybe the question says, tell me about my karma. And so you look to the karma is the 12th house. So you see judgment there, and you talk about there's an angel blowing a trumpet. So maybe what you do is your karma at the moment is to identify and listen to and follow your inner higher self, however that happens to be. So maybe you suggest that you buy a pack of angel cards and work with them. It depends on the person. But it's a bit like your karma at the moment. Your lessons will come from finding a higher path or an inner path to follow, and transforming your life as well. Because if you try to be ordinary and normal, it's not going to work. But if you've got inspirations to do things, and if you're going to be rejuvenated by certain activities, that's what you should be doing. Instead of talking yourself out of doing something interesting and exciting, you wouldn't have thought of doing it if you hadn't been supposed to try it. Okay, that's I'm aware of the time and the fact that the camera is going to stop recording after 20 minutes. So I'll stop now. The next one I think is going to be called Be the Composer of Your Own Life, I think. And we'll see what happens with that. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Okay, bye-bye.